Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're looking at a pretty wild story, how a single dropped helmet destroyed an absolutely untouchable ancient empire. But more importantly, we're going to see how that exact same trap might literally be running your life right now. It's a fascinating look at the danger of relying on past successes, and how building a flawless exterior can actually leave you completely vulnerable.
You have a name that you are alive, but you are dead. Just, wow. Talk about a devastating diagnosis. We're starting with this clinical, brutal verdict from the Book of Revelation. It was aimed directly at the ancient city of Sardis. No sugarcoating, no negotiation, just absolute truth delivered to a civilization that had basically mastered the ultimate fake reputation. To really get why this hit so hard, we kind of need to understand who these people actually were.
Section 1. The ultimate fake reputation and old money of the ancient world. All right, let's jump right into this city, Sardis. They were the capital of Lydia and, honestly, the original old money. These guys weren't just well off, they literally invented the tech to extract pure gold from natural alloys right out of the Pactolus River, using a process called salt cementation. It made them so inexplicably, insanely wealthy that they actually inspired the proverb, rich as Croesus, named after their famous king. But here's the wild part. Despite all that gleaming success and vast fortune, Sardis is one of only 2 churches in all of Revelation that gets 0 commendations from Jesus. Not one single good job. And what's really fascinating here is how perfectly their ancient wealth mirrors our modern world. Think about it, the perfectly curated social media feed, right? Or those massive CEO titles stacked up on LinkedIn. We see these modern flexes every single day. But just like Sardis, that flawlessly polished exterior might literally be one bad quarter away from total collapse. You can be completely gold-plated on the outside and entirely hollow on the inside. Section 2, the impregnable cliff scam and a 1,500-foot fall. To really grasp why relying on your reputation is such a dangerous anesthetic, we've got to look at the massive 1,500-foot vertical cliff that Sardis was built on. Sardis sat way up on an acropolis, towering over the valley floor. And get this, the residents didn't even bother to post a watch. They genuinely believed those cliffs were completely impenetrable. Their confidence wasn't just mental arrogance, it was baked right into their physical architecture. The geography itself was the wall. The city was designed to make them feel perfectly safe, which, as we'll see, bred a fatal kind of comfort.
This brilliantly illustrates the tragedy. Back in 547 BC, King Cyrus of Persia had his army camped outside, staring up at these sheer cliffs, finding absolutely 0 entry points. But then, a Persian soldier spots a Lydian guard accidentally drop his helmet over the edge. Thinking nobody's watching, that guard sneaks down a narrow hidden trail to grab it. And that night, the Persian army used that exact same trail to climb right up in the pitch dark. The most impregnable city in the ancient world fell without a single battle, just because the defenders stopped watching. So here's the crucial takeaway. When everyone around you thinks you've got it all together, you kind of stop being honest with yourself. The meetings keep happening, the reputation holds up, but your interior has gone totally dark. Just like that unguarded acropolis, you build up this perfectly polished exterior, leaving a hollow, completely undefended interior. The most dangerous spot you can be in isn't outright failure. It's the appearance of success with absolutely nothing alive underneath.
Section 3. The Gregorio shift and waking up the right way. The prescription given to this spiritually dead church is a single, incredibly powerful Greek word that completely flips how we think about recovery. That word is Gregorio. Now, it doesn't just mean, hey, don't fall asleep. It demands an active, aggressive, soldier-like posture toward reality. It's the act of continuously scanning, moving, and actively listening for that one sound that doesn't belong. It's an aggressive orientation to reality that the people of Sardis had just entirely lost. And this brings us to the actual application of the Sardis protocol. See, when most people realize they're running hollow, they try to fix the reputation first. They chased better performance, a new title, basically slapping whitewash on a leaning wall. But the Sardis protocol says no. You have to start with a brutal private inventory. Ask yourself, what is genuinely alive and real in my life right now? You do not start with a reputation, because the reputation is the illusion. You find whatever authentic character remains, even if it's just a tiny fraction, and you fortify that. You start with the remains. Section 4. The stained garment effect and subtle compromises. Let's move to the next concept and see how this all builds, especially since Sardis was the textile capital of the ancient world. Your status was literally worn on your sleeves.
In a city totally obsessed with high-end garments, Jesus tells them most of their clothing was molinomai. That translates to contaminated or subtly compromised. It's a brilliant metaphor, actually. It refers to a stain you can only see up close, but from across the room, it looks perfectly fine. He is directly targeting those quiet, private compromises you make with yourself, those subtle little deals that don't immediately show up on your public record, but deep down, you know they're there.
He then promises white garments to the very few who haven't defiled themselves. In a city built entirely on textile status, this completely inverts what Sardis valued. He's not talking about the bright white of public performance. He's prioritizing authentic character, the kind that holds its shape when the doors are closed, the lights are off, and literally nobody is watching.
Section 5, the Book of Life and the Ultimate Register. This gets even deeper when we look at how ancient cities functioned. In a place obsessed with names and being on the right social register, committing a crime meant your name was literally blotted out of the city records in faded ink. You just officially ceased to exist.
Sardis was utterly obsessed with these lists. But the source text reframes this whole game. It highlights a promise that the only reputation that actually has permanent value is the one confessed before the Father. It's not the temporary, fading public lists and social registers we spend all our time obsessing over today. Look, if you are publicly celebrated, but privately empty, you are simply winning a game that ultimately ends. Section 6, falling to the same trick and a history that repeats. Now, here is the historical twist that should absolutely stop you cold. It reveals the ultimate danger of learning nothing from a catastrophe.
Remember the story of King Cyrus taking the city in 547 BC? Well, Sardis actually survived that first crash. Over the next couple of centuries, they rebuilt the walls, restored their gold, and got their shining reputation back. But because they never fixed their interior watchfulness, the city fell again in 214 BC to Antiochus the Great. And how do you think he got in? His troops used the exact same unguarded cliff path. An entire civilization looked at its greatest historical catastrophe and learned absolutely nothing about their real weakness. This isn't just an ancient story for the history books, guys. It is the exact pattern people run today. You survive a massive failure. You hustle to rebuild the brand. You fix the appearance, only to find yourself standing right back on that very same unwatched cliff a few years later, wondering how it all crashed down again. It happens because the interior problem, that lack of Gregorio, that lack of real watchfulness was never actually addressed. I'm going to leave you with this final thought to take away from our explainer today. That hidden trail, it is still there. And the thief still knows the path to your private compromises way better than you do. So the question isn't whether you've had a Sardis moment in your life. The real question is, are you awake? Are you strengthening what remains? And are you finally watching your cliff?